This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week.
My name is Mrs. Barbara Whitworth, and is my father, Mr. Lawrence Hammett. He was a desert rat. He's now 101 years old, almost. He's been through a lot. Alamein, Dunkirk, all the major battles. He lost a brother. Yeah, he went through it all and he got killed a few times. He's done well to survive, actually.
And actually, in terms of his World War II achievements and where he was, he was there almost at all the key points.
I know on one bit he told me he was in this wadi, like it's a dried up desert, and he said this 21st Panzer Division, and then this particular day he just opened fire and all his mates got killed, except my dad and one other, and it was horrendous. And the Battle of Alamein, that's why he's so deaf, because there was 40 miles of constant gunfire. And you had no ear pads in those days, and that's why he's quite deaf. He did Dunkirk. My mum didn't see him for 4 years. She thought he'd got killed, because in them days...
Communication wasn't very good.
Communication. He was in Egypt and North Africa, Tobruk, and all round there. And he hated every minute of it.
But he did it all, and he stayed the course.
I think he was there for about 6.5 years. And one day they wanted so many men to do a mission, and he thought, oh, change of scenery. And they wanted so many guys, I think about a dozen guys, to go driving, and the other guys were listening in, and they had to go 40 miles, I think it was, into Germany quarters to listen in and to scoot back. And did that for quite a few weeks. And he got mistaken for a German once, because my granddad was a bit of German in him. He told me a few things. He could have told me more, and he could have wrote more in that book, but I don't think he wanted to, really. And then again, I used to ask him what so-and-so. When he was in Holland, he befriended a Dutch family. We knew them for years, but they've all died off now, you know. And the mayor of Holland, where they were, I think it was Sittard, which is right down the bottom near the German border, they gave him the freedom of the city. Would that be right? Because of what they did.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio podcast.
So tomorrow morning, there's going to be a fundraising cycle ride at Rutland Water, led by a young lad from Cold Overton. Now, Logan is someone who had quite a condition for a 10-year-old, as he was when he actually suffered from this. He's raising money to help research into alopecia. Now, his dad is a well-known doctor locally who's worked all over, really. Leon, tell us a little bit about what he went through, because that must have been horrendous and really hard for him to reason with, actually.
You're absolutely right, Rob. Logan's 10 now, and as you say, for the last few years, has suffered from some patchy alopecia and hair loss, and it's been quite difficult for him as a young boy, sort of at Langham School, sort of trying to explain this sort of hair loss, which medical science doesn't always have an explanation for, and he's been really well supported by Leicester Hospitals and the dermatology team there. Him and his classmates are getting together on Sunday, and they're going to ride anti-clockwise around Rutland Water, raising money for Alopecia UK. Let's raise some awareness.
And it looks like they're going to raise a good few hundred for the cause as well. How's his condition now?
It's slowly improving, Rob. The treatments have been effective, and we've been well supported by Alopecia UK, particularly with this fundraising event. And slowly the condition is improving. So Logan's at the stage now. He's happy to share this with his class and with family and friends, and we're hoping to get well over 10, 12 people going around Rutland Water, raising perhaps funds of well over £500.
And whereabouts and when is the start of the ride if people are out at Rutland Water tomorrow?
Fantastic. They'll see us tomorrow on Sunday. We are meeting at Sykes Lane near Empingham at about 10 o'clock. We'll be pushing off anti-clockwise around Rutland Water, heading Whitwell, Barnsdale, Hambleton, and then on South Shore. We'll be wearing our blue Alopecia T-shirts, and there is a fundraising page on Just Giving for Logan's Rutland Water Bike Ride, Rutland Water Cycle Ride, and there's some information on there, Rob.
Well done, Logan Roberts, for leading all that, and thanks very much for talking to us about it on his behalf.
Thanks very much, Robbie. You might want to say some thank yous afterwards to those involved, and we'll keep you updated.
Rutland Radio.
Now, this isn't the first time, Simon Spooner, you've actually cooked 4 second helpings. Was it one Saturday you volunteered for and had a sort of blank canvas to create?
Yes, I came one Saturday last year, about the same time, so I knew a little bit more of what to expect, where a few things were today and the sort of food that would work.
And you've got children yourself, you know the kind of crowd pleasers, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. So my kids are 4 and 6, so today we've done spaghetti bolognese, tomato pasta bake and some garlic bread.
And what about when you start as a chef here? And you don't know quite what you're going to get. You'll probably get a lot more of something that you don't imagine, and then you just have to create, really, don't you? I suppose the TV show was good training for that.
Yeah, it was good training, and coming here before and just doing raids on the fridge at home. This is the sort of thing that we would do, get home from work and say to the kids, what do you want? You have a look in the fridge. And so I had a bit of an idea that I would do pasta-based things. Kids at this sort of age, they seem to really enjoy it. Do something vegetarian, and then we've just thrown in a load of vegetables that are hidden within both dishes. We've got some peppers in there, some carrots in there, loads of stuff that was going to waste. And then there was a huge amount of bananas that were going to waste, so we've made a really nice banana cake and some custard and some stewed strawberries as well to go with it for dessert.
How are things going for you since MasterChef? I know you're doing a lot of stuff, private dining, you've been at food festivals, all sorts of stuff recently.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm doing food festivals, I do cookery workshops in Stamford, I do private dining in people's homes and run supper clubs at my own house as well. So there's plenty of opportunity to come and try my food that's normally a little bit more upmarket than this, but it's nice to do something a little bit simpler for once. But the work's going really well.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
Mary Benzies, and I'm principal of Tolthorpe Youth Drama.
And this is the first summer school that's now begun. Give us a broad picture, explanation of what ages are involved and what you're working towards.
Okay, so we have 5-year-olds are our youngest involved, and then 16 is the oldest age group we have. So we have 3 workshops happening over the space of 2 weeks, and it's our first ever summer arts festival, and we've called it a festival because there is really so much happening, and we have so many guest tutors coming in this week and throughout the course of the workshops to work with the students and participants, and the disciplines that they're learning about and are just so wide and varied. So and there's performing opportunities in it, so it's a hive of activity here at the moment.
And they do get to perform on that legendary Tolthorpe stage. That's part of it.
They do. So our younger group, which we have running this week, are 5 to 7-year-olds. They're performing a little adaptation of Midsummer Night's Dream, and they're actually getting to do that on Friday for their parents on the stage at the end of the week. And then also next week is very heavily focused on performance for the older age group. So we will create a performance with them, which this year is all African themed and tribal, and they will do it on the Julius Caesar set that's happening, because that's happening at the company here next week.
And this being so new, it's almost like, why didn't this happen years ago, I guess, with the way that Tolthorpe works and brings on the adult actors?
Yeah, I mean, when I came on board as principal last year, I was a teacher here for quite a few years as well before that, and I always felt there was this real opportunity, because anyone who's ever visited Tolthorpe will know that it's such a beautiful, the grounds are incredible, and summer is the place for Tolthorpe really to be able to utilise the stage. And so when we proposed these workshops, the company really embraced it and supported it 100%, and obviously without their support we can't make it work, because our day finishes at 4 and then the actors are already coming in, as are the audience for their picnics. And so we're working really closely together to make this a success, and we hope this is the first of many, and that the summer festivals can only grow from here. We've got, interestingly enough, we've got loads obviously of local participants, but we also have people coming from further afield who are actually staying in B&Bs here just to do this workshop, so we're thrilled about that.
Rutland Radio.
My name is Gary Avis. I'm character principal with the Royal Ballet and senior ballet master.
And to come to somewhere like this, which I suppose is maybe in some circles nationally and internationally renowned for what it does with amateur adult performers, to be working with the kind of next generation. How is that going for you?
I always like to feel that I can tap into nurturing and mentoring the next generation. The up-and-coming talent is basically what I'm really all about. Obviously, I work in a field where the Royal Ballet is a company and we work in a rep theatre, so therefore we've got rep and a set company that are working all the time. But to actually know and realise that there are children that are learning what we are doing as an art form and as a job is really exciting for me. So to come to somewhere like this is really, really exciting. I've got 28 older children that I'm working with today. I've been working on the ballroom scene from Romeo and Juliet, which is choreographed by Sir Kenneth Macmillan. And it's interesting because when I am actually teaching it and passing it on to youngsters, I then realise just how difficult it is actually. So it is interesting for me because it's a learning process for me as well as them. So yeah, it's been really, really interesting, and I just love interacting with the children, really understanding where they're coming from with the choreography, because I've seen that choreography for years and years and years. So yeah, it's really interesting.
And do you have kind of flashbacks to your kind of route into where you are now and thinking, wow, if I'd have had this opportunity?
Interestingly enough, even though I've been with the Royal Ballet Company for 26 years and working professionally for 30 years, I actually wanted to go into musical theatre. So the departure from musical theatre happened early on in my training, but I can really see parallels with some of the children here already. And I think, yes, absolutely, had I been able to have the inspiration and the knowledge that a lot of the professionals are passing on this week, I just think that all of these kids who are getting involved this week are just going to learn so much, and are just going to it's going to hopefully springboard them and make them understand and be inspired to maybe go and see more ballets, more operas, more dramas, and not necessarily think that that theatre itself is boring.
And actually, from a ballet point of view, people think of that as probably the most disciplined from a stage point of view, and very, very precise. They seem pretty tuned in to wanting to get the best out of their time here.
Yes, I know it's a very short window that I'm here, but I'm trying to instill that the ballet section of what I'm trying to develop here isn't just about steps, choreography. It also involves characters. I'm a big advocate of creating fully fledged big characters rather than people just thinking it's all about tights and tutus. It's really nice to know that the children are really tapping into the fact that there is more to ballet than just fairies and cavaliers, I think. And for me to be actually working on Romeo and Juliet, which is what we're working on, is a big privilege, because I just think that there are so many large roles that need really fleshing out. And I think if I can pass that on today to the children to make them really understand that, there's a lot of research that needs to go into it, a lot of background, and it's a lot of physicality and body language. So as I say earlier, it's one of those things which is a learning process for me as much as it is for them.
And how do you feel with your day job, knowing that actually that's what you're paid to do?
Oh, well, I mean, it's an exceptional job. I mean, I came from Ipswich, from an estate in Ipswich, with no background or history within my family of dancing or theatre. So to actually be doing this job, which, I've always said I was very, very lucky because it was my hobby, and now it has become my career for 30 years. So I feel absolutely blessed, because had I not had the inspiration and the knowledge passed on to me early on, I don't think I would be where I am today in achieving what I've been able to achieve, and hopefully still going to achieve. But I do think that's all testament to the people that were teaching me back then, and hopefully I feel that I could then pass my knowledge on to those that are growing up now.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
Michael.
Maeve.
Sophie.
Meredith.
I come from more of a musical theatre background, so it's been really nice to work with Gary Avis today on our ballet, Storytelling Through Movement. That's been really good. And also another highlight was our costume workshop yesterday with the resident costume designer here at Tolthorpe. And we've made some Alice in Wonderland style hats and some pretty funky costumes. I should never be allowed into a costume cupboard.
Does it feel like you're kind of part of Tolthorpe, the stuff that happens in the evenings?
Yeah, I love doing these workshops because I find it really interesting that they're getting people from like Suffolk and London, and that's a good trek from here, and that they've spent time to make these things happen to any kind of person.
Do you ultimately have ambitions to be on the stage?
Yeah, I'd love to be on the West End or Broadway. I just love to perform, and it was really nice today to be reminded for my love for ballet, because I've been doing that since I was about 3 years old. So yeah, that was really nice today.
I want to be a director more than an actress or anything. So you sort of get to learn that here as well, because we've had a director here as well. And he's come all the way from London, so it's been really good because that's what I want to do.
Does this all feel like an opportunity, you didn't expect to get, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I thought they would all be like jazz hands, not like proper, like sophisticated stuff that like adults do. So it's good to have that head start in that career.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk. This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week.
Good morning. Lovely to have you back.
Well, lovely to be here. How are you this morning?
I'm fine, thank you. It's a nice morning.
You've dried out since the weekend then, or at least the deluge we had yesterday.
Yes, but wasn't it lovely? Doesn't it smell lovely? All fresh and everything green. The weeds knee-high.
Yes, the weeds are knee-high, aren't they? Everything, as you say, very green and very vibrant, but the garden needs doing. This is very true.
Yes, I think I have to study up on this streaming, whatever it is, and all this Netflix.
Oh, yes.
I don't understand all this. I haven't got any of that.
You've just got an aerial on the roof.
Well, I've got a satellite box.
Well, you're not too far behind them.
But I haven't got my HD plugged in because I don't know where to put the wire.
So you're watching it in slightly, how can we put it, slightly rounded?
Yes, I stick to what I know. I'm a bit of a stick in the mud, I think. But anyway, it's lovely to have you back and to see your lovely photos, and you look so at home at Peppa Pig Place.
Yes. Yes, I know. I've never done so much in a week, and all of it in England. So people who are going abroad for a bit of fun in the holidays, it's certainly to be had here. From Belton House to punting on the River Cam to Peppa Pig World to seeing Thomas the Tank Engine on the Watercress line in the middle of Hampshire, which I know you can also do at Nene Valley. Yes, and breathe. Back to work.
And you need another week to get over it. And I really want to go and see that Helter Skelter in Norwich Cathedral.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio podcast.
Thank you, David. As we were mentioning, the NCS groups across Stamford and Rutland have been doing different community projects through the summer holidays. NCS Blue Cross, based in Oakham, are raising money for the Blue Cross animal centres across the country. Kate's with us from the group. Why Blue Cross then?
We've always wanted to help animals, because all of us as a group, we all have animals, we all have pets, we have dogs, cats, even small rodents, whatever you want to call them.
Yes.
Yeah. And we always hated the thought of animals being in cruelty, or especially like puppy farming, because that is not aware. We wanted to spread the awareness and show that it isn't just people, it is also animals. So we chose Blue Cross because we thought we wanted to help them.
Now, you've raised quite a few hundred already with your sponsored walk around Rutland Water last week. Today, you're in Oakham Castle, which is where I'm speaking to you now. Tell us a few of the things we've got here. This is like a raffle. I can smell the wonderful cakes as well. A lot of the team, I guess, have been baking those.
Yeah, so we all worked as a group. So we've got a tombola and a cake sale. All the cakes are handmade. We spent our own time and effort because we wanted to show that we are aware and we want to show awareness. So we made all the cakes ourselves. We got a tombola through gifts that we wanted to give in, or we even went around town asking other shops to give donations, which I think is really good because we're all showing awareness through the community and helping the community. Later on, we actually are doing a bingo at the Old People's Home, but we only did that for our community, so there is no money being raised there, but we also wanted to help the community is in Oakham.
And the whole idea of NCS is a group of teenagers, 16, 17-year-olds, who probably have never met before, from different backgrounds, different schools, all from the same town, all working together for a different community project.
Yes, of course there's like Stamford group, Oakham group, Bourne group, and it is just so nice meeting new people, because some of us aren't as confident or outgoing as we want to be. So NCS is such a great thing to do because you're able to get out and meet new people, be able to do new things. Like the first 2 weeks we went to universities, went to the Peak District and doing different things, and it's just so fun as well as going out instead of staying home. So it's really fun, yeah.
So that's the NCS Blue Cross group who are at Oakham Castle till about 3:30 this afternoon, if you fancy popping down and supporting them.
Rutland Radio.
Marilyn Kennedy, I'm Head of A-Levels.
And how would you describe this year as far as the students?
It's been an outstanding year and culminating in fantastic results, so we're thrilled.
The national story is all about A-level maths, pass mark, or A-level A mark being at 55%, which does seem lower than I've known it before. Is that something that you think has impacted this year for you?
No, not particularly. And there was lots of furore about maths papers being leaked, and it was something that we were all worried about. I think the students who've got the grades that they've got in maths and in all our other subjects deserve the grades that they've got. They worked hard for them, and I'm thrilled for them. And it means that they can go on and do what they need to do next.
And that is what it's about, isn't it? This is a crossroads in their life. It's a path. It denotes where they could go from here.
Absolutely. We shouldn't underestimate how crucial those A-level results are for what they want to do next. And I'm thrilled to say that all of our students are able to go on and do the things that they wanted to do, which is thrilling. And many of them are going to university, and some of them are not. Some of them have already started apprenticeships, and some of them are going to take a gap year. So they're all able to do the things they wanted to do, which is wonderful.
It does seem that there are more students nationally certainly going to university than before.
Yes, that does seem to be, and it was one of the government initiative, wasn't, as we all are aware of, and I think that's a great thing. But university is not the right place for everybody, and I think that's the great thing here. We give students the opportunity to do things that they want to do, which might include university. For many of them, it does, but also it gives them the chance to look at other things. And we've got some who've gone on to do really good apprenticeships and secure really good places, which again is something that the government wants to see, and is a great opportunity for people who want to do that. So.
And how is this a day for you, actually, from a staff point of view?
It's a thrilling day. All my team like to come in. We like to celebrate with the students, and we're here then to support students who maybe didn't quite get the grades that they wanted, or didn't get into the universities that they wanted to do, or actually aren't sure what they want to do. We have some who've done far better than they expected. So it's about supporting them and helping them with their options, and just celebrating. We've worked hard with those students for 2 years. They've worked really hard, and it's lovely to be able to be here to say well done.
Thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio here at New College Stamford. What a special day it is for the college here today.
Thank you very much.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
I'm here with Chris Packham yet again. This is getting all a bit regular in Rutland in August, isn't it, really?
Well, we like that. I always enjoy coming back to the bird fair. All of the values that it stands for remain intact after more than 30 years now. Enormous aggregation of people who care about and want to care more for the health of our, not just birds, but our wildlife and environment too. And of course it's all about raising money, and over the years Bird Fair has raised a tremendous amount of money for overseas projects when it comes to avian conservation, so it's top work. Plus I get to see lots of people who I only see once a year. I'm standing outside the art tent, it's my favourite. I like going in and looking at all the paintings. I'm very keen on my art, so it's always a pleasure. The only problem with Bird Fair is it only lasts 3 days, and really if it lasted for a week, I know everyone would be exhausted on the stands, but it would give us a chance to get round everything.
Now later this afternoon you're signing, you've got the panel this evening, and you've got lectures across this weekend. Could you summarise where people can see you and when?
Yeah, so I'm doing a signing on the Wild Sounds stand this afternoon with a couple of other people. A remarkable man who's written a book about bird therapy, it's called, Joe Harkness, about his own mental health crises and how he helped himself with sort of a nature cure through his bird watching. It's a great book. And I'm also there with a young man who's written a book for other young people as well. He's extremely extremely good, Alex White, or Appleton Wild as he's known on social media, and he's a really dynamic young man, so I'm very keen to support them. And this evening we had a panel discussion in the main marquee with a great range of speakers. We've got Carrie Simmons, who will be speaking first. Dominic Dyer is chairing the whole event. We've got Deborah Meaden, and we've got some young people as well. Looking more broadly than the world of birds, of course, but looking how we look after our entire environment and considering, I hope, many of the changes that we all need to make to ensure that that's healthy in the future. So that's good. Tomorrow at 12, with my colleagues Mark Avery and Ruth Tingay from Wild Justice, we're taking to the same stage in the main marquee. We're going to be interviewed by a man, Charlie Jacoby, from the Field Sports Channel, and it was an interview that was due to have taken place at the Game Fair, but they banned Mark and I from attending. Charlie was equally miffed, so we said, well, why don't you come to us if we can't come to you? So we've given him a platform to conduct his interview here, which I think is great. We should be in discussion with these people, not just banning attendances. So obviously everyone is welcome at the Bird Fair. And then after that, I'm going to throw open the stage to some of my colleagues to talk about their projects, and also to some young people who've got a very important message, and that will all be between 12 and 1 tomorrow.
Chris Packham, thanks for joining us here in Rutland yet again.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Have a great weekend.
Rutland Radio.
Jim Ashton.
And Joel Ashton.
You are the Butterfly Brothers of Bourne. Does you often answer the phone like that?
Well, it's an interesting topic, really, because we were kind of adopted that name. Everybody used to say, oh, it's the Butterfly Boys or the Butterfly Brothers or whatever, which was quite amusing, and we just sort of stuck with it. There was no point fighting it. So, yeah, we were always the eccentric lads in a builder's merchant, sort of looking at a painted lady flying over. So, oh, it's the Butterfly Boys. So we said, oh, we'll just go with the Butterfly Brothers. It works, so yeah.
And incredibly, actually, while we were talking there, we just saw a painted lady just come and settle on one of the plants you've got in Marquee 8.
Yeah, on one of the white buddleias, which is fantastic, and it just shows that, I mean, here we are in the middle of a field. We've put a few wildflowers in our little wildflower display, and everything's coming in. You know, we had butterflies all over the buddleias yesterday when we were building the stand, and it just shows the pulling power, you know, and how fantastic these insects are at diversifying into different areas, you know, and spreading through the countryside. So, hence the importance of gardening for wildlife, particularly in urban areas, you know.
And has it actually been a really good year for butterflies? It seems like there's more around at the moment.
It's been mixed. I mean, we're obviously travelling nationally to do this, so we see all the pockets of the UK, or most of them, most counties. Mixed results. We've had a bit of heat, bit of rain, generally in our local area, when we've had the time to look for butterflies, which is few and far between. We've got a site up the road, actually, not far from Stamford, and we've just had our 30th species, dark green fritillary, on this acre of meadow. So, you know, things are expanding. Generally, though, I'm always fairly positive, because people can always do their thing, you know. So this year, even if people have a negative result in their garden, they can reflect on that and say, well, what can I do to improve it next year for them? You know, what can I plant? What can I cut back or not cut back? So, yeah, but it's been a mixed year, hasn't it, really, I would say.
That painted lady's just come back.
She's back again, yeah.
Can't keep her away.
Yeah.
And actually, verges are changing, aren't they? Even the council in Rutland are doing this policy where they're cutting half of it. There's some of them are leaving that are overgrown. They're putting signs up saying, look, we're leaving this for the wildlife.
And yeah, and that is key. I mean, it's something that we're very keen to pursue, because sadly 97% of our wildflower meadows have been lost in the last 100 years. So, of course, roadside verges now tend to be the only refuge for miles, and they're a fantastic link and a corridor for butterflies and other insects and birds and everything else to be able to move along, to go from one site to another and to help them spread. So absolutely, where councils can, you know, adapt to not cut these verges, you know, not cut them all. Certainly, if a verge is, say, 3 metres wide, just cut the first metre, particularly on straight roads where visibility isn't an issue. There's absolutely no reason for those to not be wildflower-rich avenues, really.
And you've been on Gardener's World recently. You're kind of getting more and more known. Would that be fair?
We'll get about.
Yeah.
We get about. We sneak our way through the UK now. You know, it's really interesting because attitudes have changed so much. I mean, officially, we set up the business in 2006. We were absolutely just pestering people to let us do things, put a nest box up. Now, you know, it's fantastic, this broad sweep across the nation where everybody wants us to come and do this. So, you know, I mean, with Spring Watch and Countryfile, all these programmes that are exposing, you know, to millions of people that the they've got the power of this outlet to sort of say, look, you can do this in your garden, or you can do it on a farm or whatever. So this whole thing's changing really, really well, coinciding with obviously climate change and chaos and everything else. So it's really good. We never set out to do this, I know this will be a fashion. It was always, we just wanted to help wildlife, and I guess we just chose a good time to do it. There's no better time than now. So yeah, it's good, we're getting more recognition so we can help more wildlife. So it's really nice at the moment, yeah.
So you're right in the doorway of marquee number 8. You're also in the events marquee Sunday morning at 11.
Yeah, so we'll be giving a talk, as you say, Sunday morning, just on the benefits of gardening for wildlife and how people can help. And that's the key point, is we hope to inspire thousands of people as much as we can to do their own bit and show the importance of it. And just because you have a postage stamp, you don't have to think, oh, well, actually, this isn't going to work, it's not worth doing. It absolutely is. So, yeah, we're in the events marquee, 11 o'clock, and we're here all today, Saturday, Sunday, front of marquee 8, and, yeah, come and see the garden.
Brilliant to meet you. Thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio today.
Thank you.
Cheers.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
Hello, is that Andrea?
It is, yes.
I'm Rob from Rutland Radio. I'm phoning you because we had a Hero of the Week nomination for you because of what you did the other week. Yes, you are the Andrea who actually handed back the holiday money, aren't you?
Yes.
So whereabouts did you find it? Because Jasmine dropped it somewhere in town. She didn't have a clue where it was, and you put it on social media and got it back to her.
Oh, they put it on social media, and I found their post, and then messaged them via social media.
Well, they'd like to make you Hero of the Week on Rutland Radio just for your efforts, really, in getting it back to them. And I know they've had a great break, so, well done.
Thank you very much indeed. Oh, that's really touched me. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Just need to come and see you and give you a certificate so you can be our Hero of the Week.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not a hero. I just did the right thing.
Well, no, I know what you mean. But they appreciate that, and it was teenagers' hard-saved money, and she just appreciates the fact that you were completely honest and speedy about it, and they're able to get on and do what they needed to do. So.
Oh, that's really kind of them. Thank you very much indeed.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk. This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week. I'm here with organiser of Bird Fair, Tim Appleton, and would you say this year more than any other, maybe to do with Friday's appearance by Boris Johnson's partner, that actually this is more on the world stage than ever it's been before?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, it's quite remarkable that we've had the support of people like Carrie Symonds, our Prime Minister's partner, and the fact that, of course, the media are following her, particularly the fact this was her first ever sort of open speech. So, I mean, they wanted to hear what she said, and the positive things she said were absolutely brilliant. And hopefully that's bringing in a lot more people. I mean, we've had brilliant numbers despite everything going against us, with weather and conditions. And actually, what's so extraordinary about the thousands and thousands of people that have come here, we haven't had a single complaint about the conditions, the mud. People are very tolerant. They realise that what we're trying to do, raising money for conservation and awareness, that Bird Fair is something that's so critically important, particularly for our county of Rutland.
And the other kind of, I suppose, environmental figure, you might say, Greta Thunberg, who would have been here, would have been at the Bird Fair on Friday night, had she not been in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
Exactly. Hopefully she'll be with us next year. And it's about young people in the future that we feel so important. Our new wild zone that's really going from strength to strength. We need more families to come in and listen and hear about what we're doing and what we're able to offer young people, because the future is with these kids that are striking at school. Not that they want to strike, but they're there to try to make the point that they're worried about how we're leaving the planet. So we need to sort of do a lot more to see how we can improve everyone's lifestyle.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio podcast.
Good morning.
Good morning, and how was your weekend?
Well, it was nice. I went to Waterside with 3 ladies from work. We had a lunch, wandered round. It's very calm in garden centres because you can look at the beauty and know that you don't have to work and keep it up.
Yes, I know. That's the thing with gardening. It's actually a lot more hard work than it first appears, isn't it?
Yes, they don't just appear. Nicely cut lawns and no weeds. But it's lovely to go round. And we had a lunch and then we went to the Bluebell, Belmathorpe, and I had a J2O, so it was a lovely day. One of my grandsons called and it rounds it off, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Keeping in touch with family as well.
And you were busy.
Oh, yeah.
At the bird fair.
At the bird fair, amongst other things, yes. Oakham Fun Day yesterday as well. Took the little one to that, which was fab. A couple of things I'd just like your thoughts on. There's a new Channel 4 show where they're showing a mum training her toddler like a dog. Literally using treats, as rewards. The clicker training, those little clicker things. Basically saying you can train a child like a dog. Any thoughts?
A child's not a dog. Every child is different. Every child responds to different actions. I've had 3 children and they're all different.
What about this to round off? The best joke of the Edinburgh Fringe. A Swedish festival veteran, Olaf Falafel, his name apparently, or Olaf Falafel, I think. His winning joke, I keep randomly shouting out, broccoli and cauliflower. I think I might have florets. Have a lovely day.
Yes, and you.
Thanks a lot.
You
All
made
right.
me smile.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Rutland Radio.
It's Rutland Radio at breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani. Now, our current High Sheriff, Margaret Miles, is with me this morning, and along with her husband, cycled between the 42 Anglican cathedrals in the country. And for her High Sheriff year, has really joined in with the ride and stride, as literally spending the whole day doing it.
That's absolutely right. We're going to, on the 14th of September, which is a Ride and Stride Day, we're going to join in by cycling around the perimeter of the county. We've done a recce of it, and we reckon it's about 64 miles. And on the journey, we're going to call in at 23, I think it's 23 churches on the way. And
this is actually, every 2 years, a really great fundraiser for the churches as well.
That's right. So what they hope is that people get sponsorship for the number of churches that they visit, and I believe there are about 64 churches in the county to visit. So you can get sponsorship for your cycling, and you call in at the churches, and many of the churches are there offering, coffee, teas, delicious cake. So it's really worthwhile seeing how many you can get to.
And your cycling journey, some of Rutland is actually quite beautifully flat, isn't it?
That's a great attraction.
Some of it.
Indeed. The first, we're going to start from Clipsham, because that's the village we live in. And the first third, we're going clockwise around the county, is pleasantly flat. The second third is less so. By that stage, we're down in southwest of Rutland. And the final third, which probably is still quite hard work, but is relatively flat.
So all in all, actually, it should be quite a pleasant journey.
Yeah.
If a little, it's 64 miles. That's a fair old cycle ride, isn't it?
Yeah, depends on your average speed. Now we're going at a nice cruising speed, so it's going to take us all day. And if you think about calling in at 23 churches, and maybe if you literally kind of fly in and out, 5 minutes per church, that's actually 2 hours already taken up. And of course, some churches we're going to spend longer than 5 minutes, have some decent rest and time for the coffee and cake. So we're going to start early in the morning. We're going to start at 7:30, which is a little bit before most people would be starting on the Ride and Stride and when most churches would be open. But hopefully we can fit it all in and be back by about 5 o'clock.
It's broadly about a 10 till 6 event, I think, isn't it, the Ride and Stride, for most churches to be open?
That's correct, yes. So some of the earlier ones we're going to see may or may not be manned by that stage in the morning, but we can always get a quick photo outside.
And from a High Sheriff point of view, your part of your role connecting with the community, I guess this is a great way of doing it as well for you.
Indeed, fantastic. So as I say, visiting 23 churches, we should at least therefore be covering about a third of the villages. And I believe in days gone by, the High Sheriff would go round on his or her horse round the perimeter of their county. So I'm not a horse rider, but I'm a cyclist, so thought we'd do it this way.
And actually, people can travel on their horse to do the ride and stride, can't they, if they'd like to? The majority will be cyclists, but I know some horse riders do get involved as well.
Indeed they do. Cyclists and, of course, striding, people walking. I may, in fact, find myself walking up some of those hills down in the southwest corner of Rutland as well.
Margaret Miles, thank you very much for joining us on Rutland Radio. If people would like to support you and your efforts, will this timetable be on display on your website?
Yes, this timetable will be on display on my website and also on the Ride and Stride website for Rutland. So they'll be able to see when we are planning to arrive at each of the churches. And it would be great to meet people at the churches. And if anybody would like to join us as we cycle along between some of the churches, they're very welcome to. As I say, we're at a bit of a set pace. So if they want to come along at our pace, that's fantastic. So hopefully we'll see some people, as I say, particularly in the churches.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
It's Rutland Radio breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani. As you probably heard, there's something that was going to be a mini live music festival at Cuts Close Bandstand in Oakham on Sunday, part of the bank holiday weekend. It's ended up being quite a big music festival, and at 4:00 in the afternoon, what you could probably say is the first public performance of Phoebe, who put Rutland on the map with The Voice Kids UK recently. Phoebe, thanks for joining us. You got to the semi-final. Could you ever imagine that you could have done that when you first started the competition?
No, not at all. There's 150,000 people that applied. So to get to the last 12 was incredible. I really enjoyed it.
And how was it when Jessie J first walked into the room on that first practice after you got through on the live show?
It was so exciting because she's one of the biggest female pop artists at the minute, and to have her standing in front of you was crazy.
She talked about you as a shining light that was yet to be revealed, and she said all sorts of lovely things. What do you remember of what she said?
Well, the main thing that she always said to me was to believe in myself. And I think when you have someone as big as her telling you that, then it boosts your confidence, and it really helped me.
So when did you first think, actually, I'm quite good at singing?
Well, when I was around 8, I was singing Listen by Beyonce, and my mum filmed me, and my uncle put it on YouTube, and then I just sort of went from there.
And when you were last on the radio talking about what you'd done at Catmus College, Sister Act, and playing the nun who really kind of, goes for it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a heck of a part.
No, yeah, it was really cool. It was really exciting, and I have an upcoming performance, Mary Poppins. I'm the lead Mary Poppins, so but that's going to be really fun.
That is an amazing thing to do. So where do you see yourself going with this? Are you thinking kind of musical theatre?
Well, I'd love to be famous, really, and for people to know who I am, as big as Jessie J. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's my dream, but I'd also really like to pursue musical theatre. So anything sort of drama, singing or dancing, I'd really love to do.
Do you see yourself as a songwriter or more of a singer?
I think singer. I think I'd like to get into songwriting, but just for now, I'd like to just sing.
So you're going to sing in Cuts Close in Oakham, 4:00 Sunday afternoon.
Yes.
Tell us the kind of stuff you're going to be doing.
Well, I've got some upbeat songs and some slower songs, but it's a surprise, really.
Are you going to be doing All I Am? So that's the one I think of you from The Voice doing.
I'm not going to be doing All I Am, but there's some good ones on there.
Excellent stuff. And it's free for people to come along and see you and the rest of the lineup.
Yes.
Excellent stuff. And so onwards and upwards from here, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
And how's it been in terms of, going back to Catmus and because The Voice, a lot of it was recorded before and you couldn't say anything. How did that feel when you knew the outcome, when people were still going to watch it, and then the Monday they're probably talking to you, I guess, about it?
Yeah, well, it was really difficult keeping it a secret, but everyone has just been so supportive. Even the teachers have been so supportive, but everyone's just been so lovely about it, and I've got really lovely messages, so...
Excellent stuff. So that's Cuts Close, Oakham, 4:00 on Sunday afternoon. The first band is on at 1. It's a music festival, and Phoebe, I guess you were the kind of the star signing for this, weren't you? They got all the bands lined up, then all of a sudden Phoebe's got to be there as well. How great is that?
Yeah, no, it's really great. I think it's gonna be really fun.
Rutland Radio.
Well, I'm here at Uppingham Community College with Miss Solly, who's the principal here. Tons of students here at the moment, all opening their results here. This doesn't happen online, does it?
No, it's one of the best parts of working in a school. It's just fantastic to see all the students celebrating with their family and friends, seeing the results that they've achieved, the hard work that they put in. And, as a teacher, this is the day that kind of makes it all worth it when you see those smiles on faces. So I think it's really good that it's not an electronic experience now, and students get to come and then share the joy with their friends that maybe they've not seen since they left a couple of months ago.
And how's UCC done as a broad picture? Are you very pleased?
Yeah, we are. We're really pleased. Traditionally we always achieve results that are above the national average, and that trend has continued this year, so we're really happy with that. It's a really successful year for us again. This was a big year group for us, the largest that we've ever had. So we've had more young people going through, achieving really fantastic outcomes. And it's just been lovely talking to the individual students today, finding out what they're moving on to next. Many are going on to do A-levels at Harrington, but there are so many other destinations that students are going to as well.
And that's the thing, isn't it? That they have to go somewhere. They may want to do A-levels, they may want to do something more vocational. The choice is theirs.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and that's one of the great things about today. It's the next step for those young people. They get to open the envelope, find out how they did, but then their next steps are really, really exciting for them. So it's one of the most exciting days in their lives so far, and it's just wonderful to be a part of it.
Great, thanks for joining us here at UCC today.
Thanks a lot.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
My name is Carl Smith. I'm Principal of Casterton College, Rutland.
And you had a huge rush early this year, actually, for GCSE students.
We did. I think that given that they are the hardest ever GCSE exams that young people have sat, over 35 hours of examinations in an intense month, they were particularly anxious to see what the results of them were. But of course, what we're able to say is that they were fantastic. I mean, our results have leapt out of the park once again. An increase of 10% on achievement on last year, and the results last year were superb. So we are absolutely delighted.
And how's maths done? You always pride yourself as a maths college.
It has to be said that maths do some wonderful things. I don't know how they do them, but a lot of work goes into it. Maths have once again exceeded all possible expectations. 40% have actually gone as far as to get a grade 7, which is like the equivalent to a grade A. But I'd also like to pay tribute to English, who this year have actually matched them. Our English results have match them in terms of the grade 4s and grade 5s, and that just shows that now in every respect the college is enjoying some wonderful results, and lots of other departments as well. Can I add, Rob, that one of the things that we're most proud of is that students of all different starting points have done really well. The gap between boys and girls is closing rapidly, is the smallest it's ever been. Lots of students who've overcome personal tragedies and adversities have done really well. Students who've claimed free school meals have made tremendous progress and done really well, and we're proud of all of them.
And where do they go from here, typically?
Well, the most common destination from Casterton is definitely New College, Stamford. By some considerable degree, the majority of our students progress to that college and do extremely well there, might I say. Then there's a number of others. We would love, of course, to have them all still with us, but at the moment they go to all sorts of different places. A few go to Bourne Grammar, a few go to Peterborough Regional College, one or two go over to Melton, a couple into Oakham. So, lots of different places, but they go with our very best wishes, and we're sure they'll do brilliantly well.
Carl Smith, Principal of Casterton, thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio today.
You're welcome.
Rutland Radio.
Stuart Williams, Principal at Catmus.
And how have things been for the results this year?
Yeah, another really, really good year. A lot of very, very happy students, and everybody seems to have got to where they want to, which is the main thing for us.
There's a lot of Harrington mentions that I've got from students here today. Does it help having that sixth form just next door? And, is that an easier path if they've gone through Catmus College?
Yeah, having Harrington next door has been real icing on the cake for us. It's a great transition for students. They've already been taught by many of the teachers. It's only next door, but yet it has own ethos and culture, so it's very different in many ways to the college. And a great A-level provider, as we saw last week. But we're equally proud, of course, as many students going to colleges and other places and onto apprenticeships, and a huge variety, which is just lovely to hear the stories from students about where they're off to.
And we're hearing this year the GCSEs are possibly the hardest they've ever been. Is that reflected in your results this year, would you say?
It's not reflected in the results, but I was talking to someone actually at the weekend, and they were saying they're as hard as they were in the 1960s, which I'm not sure is necessarily a good thing, because a lot's changed since the 1960s, but there's certainly a very, very hard set of GCSEs. But what the government has done is made sure that it's the same number of grades, and so they've lowered the grade boundaries to reflect that. But many of our students are still getting in 90% in exams, so they're really exceptional. But hard work pays off.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
Lucy Stevenson, lead member for Highways, Transport, Culture and Leisure.
Now, we're talking today about banners and A-boards as well. Has there been a need to police this, or is it kind of looked after itself?
Well, the fact that we have a new policy following national guidelines has meant that we've had to police things. Unfortunately, the A-boards, there were so many, it was impeding those with accessibility issues. And actually, interestingly, I was first selected in 2011. A residential who has visual impairment came and spoke to me, and that was one of the first things that I dealt with. So I think it cuts both ways. But there have been issues with accessibility. In terms of the banners, again, national guidelines are very, very clear. We shouldn't have lots of banners distracting highways users. And again, we have had complaints from residents about the number on the Oakham bypass particularly.
And so tell us A-boards to start with. You're basically saying you can't put an A-board, out if you've got, a shop in an alleyway, for instance.
What we're saying is that we don't want to impede shops and businesses at all. I better declare an interest. I have an A-board with a licence outside the Rutland bookshop. What we're saying is we need to make sure that they're put in a sensible place that won't restrict access for all users down the footway. And so therefore you can apply for a licence, £50 for the first year, £25 a year thereafter for renewal.
And banners. Now, banners kind of come and go. There are charity events that happen year after year. Often banners are up. There are also commercial events which put up banners here, there and everywhere. How does that sit with the council?
The national guidelines are very clear. You shouldn't be having things that potentially could distract drivers. However, as ever, as the Highways Authority, we want to strike a balance. We know that advertising to local traffic, when your fate's happening, when you've got various other events happening, you want to let people know that. Yes, we've got social media now. We all understand that. Therefore, we've said, yes, you can put up a banner. It needs to be of a certain size. It can only be up for a certain amount of time, and please take it away after the event. So it's trying to find a common sense balance.
And is there a case where the council are actually removing banners that don't fit with this, either through size or not in the location that maybe would be appropriate? Should people be coming to you saying, well, actually, everyone puts them at Burley Road roundabout, I'll just stick it up there. That's all right, isn't it? Bye.
No, that would not be an advisable approach. The highways inspectors have every statutory right to remove banners that are either too big or are deemed to be in a dangerous place. We have lots of signs guidance on rutland.gov.uk/signage. The one thing I am working on with officers, as a merry local event organiser myself, I checked the guidance and was scrabbling through my maths GCSE to work out the size. I am asking officers to put up a very clear length, width, so that if you are phoning up your printer, your graphic designer, you can say, this is the size that's permitted, please can you work with this?
And there are places where people do put banners, certain roads, certain junctions, certain roundabouts. are they places because the banners have always been there that's okay? Are you looking to get particular places where banners can go and, don't put banners at this junction because this is dangerous? Are you looking at that kind of thing?
I think the guidance on the website is clear. The one thing I want to tweak is the actual dimensions. It does come down to common sense. If you place a banner on a junction that already maybe has quite a high traffic volume, it is going to get taken down. And I think, again, dare I mention the highway code, it really does have to be common sense. And any questions, we've got the highways email address, and I think it really is better to ask than to spend money on getting things printed, placed up in various locations that then may be taken away.
Now, I understood from, I could declare an interest in terms of musical theatre, for instance. I've put up banners for that, and it seemed to be that Rutland put this guideline together that said banners cannot be up for anything more than 14 days before an event, if not they're taken down. Now, it looks like it could be 28 days and then must be removed 14 days after the event. Is that the way that things are heading? Because nationally they've said, well, actually a month before is okay now.
We followed national guidelines, and again, Rutland County Council obviously has many hats. One of those is that of Highways Authority. It would be churlish of us to ignore national guidelines, but as ever, I think we acknowledge that being able to advertise local events, local charitable events, there's a big source of pride in what we offer, and we certainly don't want to impede that. So we're sort of almost caught in the middle, following national guidelines while supporting the community that we serve and love very much.
And is the if people do get their banners taken down, is there a sort of, how can I put it? Is it just, are they going to get them taken down because they're not following the guidelines that are on your website in one way? Are they? Is it because they've ignored or not understood something?
Yeah, basically, if a banner is far too big, if it is in a place that's considered to be dangerous, creating distraction, impeding visibility, those will get taken down. My understanding is that they are stored for a month, and again, that is a case of getting in touch with Highways to get the banners. A lot of the banners, though, I notice are actually for that specific year, so it might not necessarily be something that you want to get back to not be able to put up again.
And do the Highways actually then go back to the organisers and say, I'm sorry I had to take this down, or is it down to the organisers to actually say, hang on a second, my banner's disappeared, have you got it? How does it work?
Now, we did a big communications plan. As ever with any of our communications plan, the aim is that everybody knows about it. If we've got pockets of people who didn't, then we review that. I would like to think that we would operate with courtesy and let people know. Obviously, we have limited human resources and a myriad of other things to be dealing with on our highways. But, I would hope that if somebody contacted Highways, that there would be sort of polite explanation. And as I said before, I would like the information on the precise dimensions of banners just to be really explicit on the website.
And we're talking about community events that benefit the area without a commercial purpose with this. Commercial signs, are they not allowed at all, for instance?
No, so, if you were advertising, storage, self-storage seems to be a popular one. That is a completely commercial thing. Those people would need to speak to private landowners to see if they could put them on their private land. We are supporting or enabling, shall we say, charitable events, local events, the things that, again, dare I say it, common sense.
Can you see any way that maybe the council might in the future say, well, actually, here's a site where we could make a bit of money out of this, say, for instance, the Burley Road, where there are lots of lots of signs, and would you then start charging for commercial things? Is that something that you're looking at?
I think that's a very interesting idea. Speaking as the portfolio holder elected member on that, I would be quite careful with that, because actually fundamentally this policy is there because we're saying national guidelines say distraction on the highway potentially could cause accidents. If we were then to go down the route you've suggested, I think that would be quite an uncomfortable one. But I think, as with anything, I mean, my personal style is that you discuss all ideas, any ideas on the table, you look at it to see if that would work. As I say, I personally would be quite uncomfortable with that, just on the grounds that I've said that this is about safety, accessibility, etc.
And if you compare Rutland to, say, a more built-up area where there's a lot of big advertising boards, Rutland only has one, which is just on Station Road, just across from Rutland Radio. That basically is not affected by this, and there's no move to get any more of that kind of thing. That's a commercial concern.
Yes, that is a commercial concern. Off the top of my head, Rob, I'm assuming that actually belongs to the railway. But, and again, that boils down as well to who is the landowner. Obviously, we only have jurisdiction on what is highways land on that.
So to sum up, you basically say, you want to still have banners up. They need to be controlled, of a certain size. You want to support local events, but talk to the council first before you think about it. Absolutely, and I think that's the same with really anything in life. If you're unsure, ask the question. The wonders of the website means that actually the basic guidelines are there. If you're anything like me, you tend to see things in grey, not black and white. We are there to answer those questions and to enable. And of course, we do have our events plan, our events planning, which covers everything from sound systems to road traffic management, all the rest of it. And the aim is actually to assist people to organise events that are well attended, safe and accessible for all.
Rutland Radio.
So the August Bank Holiday weekend just hours away, and one big event that happens every single August Bank Holiday weekend is the charitable opening, I guess, of the Stapleford Miniature Railway with Vintage Steam Rally, and Nigel Spencer is here to tell us more about what's happening this weekend. The Stapleford Miniature Railway, it's quite unusual, isn't it, with the 10 1/4 gauge track that it's got?
Yeah, it's considered to be probably one of the finest in the country, if not the world, to be honest. It's quite unique with the tunnels and the climbs that it has to go up and down, and obviously going around the lake as well. So it's nearly 2 miles a line, and it really works the locos hard.
And you've had all sorts of famous faces over the years, haven't you? From Pete Waterman, a known train fan, to one of the members of Guns N' Roses.
Well, Duff McKagan, last June it was, not this year, the year before. We had the entourage on the train because they were playing Download, and I jokingly said to them, you'll have to get the band to come and have a ride. And next minute, Duff McKagan comes over, and there was a fire crew there from Melton, and he spent about 20 minutes with the fire crew because I think his dad was a firefighter in America. And yeah, but I took a couple of pictures and it went all over the world. It was even in NME.
So tell us what people can experience this weekend, because you've got the miniature railway running, which I know you charge separately for.
Yeah, it's £5 for adults, £3 for children. Under fives are free to the event. You can bring dogs, but we advise not to. It's going to be a very hot weekend. And unfortunately, we can't carry dogs anymore. We've had to make a decision. Really, we're the last railway to do it of our sort of size because we don't have enclosed carriages. Yeah. So we can't carry dogs anymore on the trains. So it's probably not a good idea to bring a dog this weekend. And
as well as the Stapleford Miniature Railway, you've got the Vintage Steam Rally. So you've got all kinds of extra stuff there this weekend. Yeah, it's a big vintage rally as well, so lots of steam. I think I saw the latest was something like 40 miniature steam traction engines and rollers and all that sort of thing. Then there's all lots and lots of classic cars. There's even a quirky classic caravan village. There's a society that restores vintage classic caravans right back to the 30s, but they recreate it with all the atmosphere. So they've got the car to go with the caravan, and they'll also have the period dress as well. And you can walk around this display. It's a complete village of these caravans. And you've got the most beautiful landscape of Stapleford Park as well, actually, with the railway where it's sited.
Yes, exactly, and lots of wildlife as well. We've loads of swans on the lake now. We've got the little egrets and the herons and all the other wildlife that you associate with a big lake, which literally you're going around on the train and right by.
And you're raising money, as always, for Loros. Has that always been the charity that's been supported through this event?
Yeah, we started in '95 when we opened it, and the reason we do that is the late Lord John Gretton, Lady Gretton's husband at the time, was the one of the first patients to go into Loros in the late '80s. So we decided that when we first opened in '95, it'd be great to raise money for the charity, and we've done that ever since.
You must have raised a few thousand then over.
Oh yeah, an awful lot. I don't know what the total figure is. I mean, there is a room there that's dedicated to Lord Gretton, and lots of other things that we've supplied. Equipment and that. So yeah, it's very big.
And Lady Gretton, can we expect her to be actually on the front of one of the trains? Because she does quite like that, doesn't she?
Yeah, I'm not sure this weekend whether she's going to be there or not. I think she is. Her locomotive that she likes to drive is back now. That had a 5-year overhaul, so that came back in June. So that's available. So I would guess if she's up, she probably will want to have a drive. And yeah, it's five locomotives in steam, so there's going to be an awful lot going on.
So that's 10 till 5, Saturday, Sunday and Bank Holiday Monday to come along.
Yeah, we sort of say 5, but obviously if people are still there, we've not been unknown that we're still running the railway at 6 o'clock if people want to ride on it. So, yeah.
Excellent stuff. It's this weekend at Stapleford Park, and Nigel Spencer, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Rob.
Rutland Radio's Best Bits on the podcast.
I'm Michael Cross, and I'm the Head of Arts.
And the Stamford Georgian Festival happens every other year. When the Gravity Fields Festival is in Grantham one year, the Georgian Festival comes back. This is the fourth one, and you really are making it bigger and better than ever before.
Well, it'll certainly be very different, we hope, with some new things that we're introducing. I mean, it's been my first, actually, because I've only been post just over a year, so I've yet to experience one of these, but the team have done a great job pulling it all together. And it just encapsulates what Stamford is all about, just in terms of the architecture and the history and the heritage. A lot of it is all around the Georgian influences, although there are lots of others. The Georgian bit of it, especially around the arts centre and the ballroom that we have there and the theatre itself, really does lend itself to this sort of atmosphere and this type of event.
And it's everything from mail coach rides to, I know, hot air balloon rides on the meadows, which is new this year.
Yeah, well, the whole balloon scheme has come out of the fact we've looked at the age of wonder and invention. So all those things that happened during the course of those Georgian period. And there was an incident here in Stamford with a chap called Charles Green who took off in what was a relatively new experience in those times. 1825, and a hot air balloon flew from Stamford Gasworks across to Thorney. And we were so inspired by this. In fact, there's a house near where Wolf Road where they took off.
I was going to say,
Balloon House.
Gas Street, of course, is down there as well.
You go.
That must be a connection.
Absolutely. So we were inspired by this rather wonderful event, albeit at the back end of the Georgian period. And so balloons have become a bit of a thing. So out on the meadows we've got some tethered balloon rides, weather permitting, and the whole thing around the lanterns and just that whole sense of just air and filling things with air, and then the experience that you get from that. So people say I'm full of hot air, so that's probably the good influence from it. But no, it's just, again, just trying to find some new things that give people who do come regularly sense that they'll still be the things that they know and love. The Meadows experience, the whole thing on the Saturday night, some wonderful talks, an opportunity to see venues across Stamford, but just that chance to try and get inspired by some new things too.
And does it tend to be locals who are coming here and celebrating their town as much as those travelling from further afield?
Well, we had, I think, around 56,000 visitors to the 2017 event, so we're hoping for similar numbers this time. And, I think 40% of that 56,000 were local people, so it's very much loved and appreciated by local people, but it does attract visitors from far and wide, and that's also, of course, why it's important for the town, why it's important for the district and for visitor economy and bringing people in and exploring not just Stamford but the whole of the area that surrounds it.
And I know, for instance, the hot air balloon rides, a lot of people have been talking about that for a few months, ever since the Georgian Festival tickets were on sale. It really is worth searching it out sooner rather than later, whatever it is you're interested in.
Yes, I mean, a lot of the things that we're promoting now are selling down to the last few tickets. So, yes, if you're interested at all in any of it, get onto the website or call the Arts Centre in Stamford and get a booking in.
Rutland Radio.
So as we've been mentioning on Rutland Radio, a whole host of things across the bank holiday weekend. Bank Holiday Monday is Langham's big day of the year, I guess, really, the Langham Street Market. Tony Barrow's one of the organisers. Thanks for joining us. And how could you sum up the Langham Street Market? Because itself, the street market is huge, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really grown, Rob, over the last few years, and we've added various things to it, like the fun dog show and the Rutland Morris Men, but essentially it's really the street market, which is the main draw. So this year we've got over 100 stalls running all the way down Church Street, and we've got lots of entertainment going on, and we've got refreshments in the village hall by the ladies of the village, and lots going on at the pubs as well. So the whole village gets involved.
So the stalls, a lot of them are local?
Yeah, I think most of the stalls of the 100 are people in the village. We've got a major bric-a-brac that we've been collecting stuff for over the last few weeks, which is run by the village hall. There are other commercial stalls, but essentially it's really the village and the people turning out their stuff, and there's some bargains to be had.
And it's 11 till 4 on the day. Parking-wise, I guess you must get pretty full pretty quickly.
We do. We've got a car park at the end of Church Street on Burley Road, which is the designated car park. So we appreciate if people could actually park there. We've got room for a lot of cars there, 300 at least. So there's also disabled parking at the school as well.
And is there a charge for the parking?
It's £1, but it all goes towards the village hall. So we're doing a major refurbishment job. We're having a new roof, and that project starts in earnest in the next few weeks.
Wow.
So all money will be gratefully received for that.
So you've got all the stalls, you've got the dog show with various different classes as well, and that very much is a fun dog show, isn't it? Just for anyone who's got a dog to come along.
Yeah, it's very much aimed at children and the family. So it's entries from 11 a.m. and the show starts at 12 o'clock. We've got the best 6 legs, we've got classes for the children, we've got Waggiest Tail. So it's basically a fun dog show. So we're hoping to get more entrants this year, so it should be good.
And you've got a wide variety of classic cars and vintage vehicles as well coming along.
Yeah, we're hoping that's going to grow this year. There's a classic cars, there's a steam engine, a fire engine as well. So there's some great old cars, and there's going to be old motorbikes in the pub of the car park for the Noel Arms.
And there's the amazing traction engine, actually, that lives in Langham that I guess will be making an appearance.
Yeah, I think that's going to trundle down the road and be parked in its usual place. So it's a great photo opportunity for people to go next to that.
So that's 11 till 4, Bank Holiday Monday, £1 to park your car. Other than that, just a chance really to celebrate the village, really.
Yeah, we're going to celebrate the village. The church hall, the church is open. There's games in the church for the children, so we try to cater for the whole family. So yeah, it should be a good day, and it ends up in the pubs, and they do well out of it, which is nice to see as well.
And the church actually is the hugest church for the size of Langham, and I think it something to do with the Archbishop of Canterbury of years ago.
Yeah, I think it was Simon de Langham has a connection there, so it'd be worth looking round, and there's signs which describe what happened and his connection with Canterbury as well, so it's worth having a good look in the church.
So that's Langham's big day this Monday. We'll be down there as well, 11 till 4, the Langham Street Market, £1 to park your car. Other than that, just a whole load of stuff to see, from the dog show to 100 stalls to the classic cars and vintage vehicles and Morris dancers and everything else that we've described there. And Tony Barrow, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks, Rob.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk.